You know, there just comes a time in your life where you have to admit that you were wrong, and I was wrong about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. We are not doing good. We are not gonna go 8-8, 9 or 7, 10-6. We'll be lucky to get to 7-9 at this point, is what it's looking like. So, what is going on with this team? This is going to be a bit of a different video than I do. I know I'm very systematic with these videos. No, they're very, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Here's these stats. Here's these stats. Here's these stats. I don't feel like doing that right now. I don't. It's 2:30 in the morning. I was about to go to sleep, and I was like, you know what? I'm just a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just lost 30-10. But that's not the issue. That's not the issue for me. This team just looks like it's given up. It just looks like it's done. A lot of things happened in this Saints game that were, in a way, to me, eye-opening. In a very certain way. Eye-opening to the culture of this team currently, the culture of the leadership of this team right now, who is a decent leader, who isn't. And it was really, really interesting. Let's start from the very beginning, okay? Let's start from the very beginning with Jameis Winston's pregame speech, if you want to call it that. It was really a weird joke. He did this with his hand, and he was like licking his fingers. And I know the scene it's from. It's from Scary Movie 2 with the butler. I know for a fact that's what the scene's from. I know it. And Jameis can't deny that. I was actually one of the only people to guess what that scene was from on Twitter, on a sports media post, right? So one of the only people, I was the only person I saw in the replies to get that. I'm sure other people got it and just didn't put it because, they don't have to prove that they're right on social media like me. But I was like, man, what a weird pregame speech. I would have, if it was me, mind you, I'm a very tall, lanky, nerdy kid. But if it was me, I really would have been yelling, trying to yell some sense into these guys, to get them fired up, make them want to go out there and just dominate, Just literally go out there and freaking punch some people's heads off, man. Tackle some people's heads off. Really get them, yell at them, man. Get them angry, Get them mad that they're 2-5, I think was what they were. Get them mad that they were 2-5, But that didn't happen. I don't know. Granted, other people came in after Jameis. I saw Quan literally step into the middle of the circle right after the video cut out of Jameis's pregame speech. But that was strike one for me this game. I was like, Jameis, bit of a weird pregame speech. What the heck was that? It's kind of an immature thing to do. We'll get back to that later. Don't you worry. And then we get to strike two, which was just bad gameplay. It was just bad. Doug Martin literally had, I think, 7 yards on 9 carries. Peyton Barber outrushed him. I think he had 60 yards on 10 carries. That's bad. That's very bad. The Saints offense killed us, but I mean, the defense, if the defense is going to be out there forever, then of course they're going to get killed. Our offense was very inept. It didn't do anything. Aside from Peyton Barber, I think Mike Evans finished with 1 catch for 8 yards. It was terrible. Jameis Winston didn't play a good game. Jameis Winston still might be suffering from an AC joint sprain. I don't know. And if he is, then why would you keep him in if he's really not able to play at his full capacity? I mean, if he's really your franchise quarterback and you want to keep him protected, then maybe not play him, I mean, I get it, you're 2-5 and you still want to salvage your season, but you don't want to ruin your quarterback's potential career. I mean, look what happened to RG3 in the playoffs. He got kept in after some bad stuff with his knee, and he's out of the league. So maybe watch out on that, maybe you don't want to tear a ligament in his throwing shoulder or something. Maybe, I don't know, just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe start Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who really cares at this point, am I right? Like, who cares? Start Ryan Griffin for all I care. He's still on the roster, right? Start Sifo Liafu. I'd love to see him play. That'd actually be fun. Um, so Jameis played. Whatever. Jameis played. Maybe a bad call if he was injured. I mean, you're gonna know. He did get injured. He did get injured midway through the game, I believe. It was like at the end of the first half, he got injured. Re-aggravated that shoulder injury again, second game in a row where that's happened, and took him out. So it's like, maybe you guys aren't. I get it. You guys don't want to let on how bad Jameis' shoulder injury is, but maybe keep him out of the game if he's going to keep on re-aggravating this injury. Make sure he gets healthy and make sure he doesn't potentially ruin his career with torn ligaments aren't going to come back the same. They're going to come back weaker. Same thing. It happens with ACLs, it happens with MCLs, it happens with any type of ligament in your body. So maybe be careful with that. It's your franchise quarterback, your number one overall pick. So maybe be careful. You have a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not stupid. He can run an offense. He's got weapons, right? And let's talk about that. When you're speaking of weapons, Desean Jackson has been borderline ineffective to a certain degree, I want to say. He's been very on and off. Hasn't met his expectations, be it poor quarterback play or what, or not getting separation. I don't know. Maybe he's not getting hit on those deep throws because Jameis Winston overthrows him, which deep ball accuracy for Jameis, that's a problem, which is already in everybody's minds as Bucs fans. So Mike Evans has been good for the most part. Adam Humphries and Cameron Brate have been carrying the way. O.J. Howard had a fumble today, and he's had some flashes here, but overall not exactly what you would see out of a first-round pick. And I get it is a tight end. It's an entirely different position than maybe a quarterback or a running back or even a wide receiver to a certain degree. We haven't seen anything of Chris Godwin. Donovan Smith is god-awful. One of the main reasons Jameis has probably re-aggravated that injury is because poor offensive line play. So, to break this down, an offense that was supposed to be top 10 at least isn't. It's just not. Doug Martin is very on and off now. I mean, I kept on saying it was going to be Doug's good year. It wasn't Doug's good year. We're rotating running backs, which makes us predictable. We'll get to rotations. Don't you worry me. And Dirk's calling the plays on offense. Don't agree with that one. Why is he calling the plays on offense and being a head coach? You have an offensive coordinator. Why is he even there? Todd Monken, Mojito, I don't know. I can't remember his last name. But you got Todd there. Todd can maybe call plays. Todd's not stupid. He's a professional, former head coach. I think it's Cincinnati. Why don't you have him call plays? I don't know. Is he just a wide receiver coach at this point? Do we not have an offensive coordinator? I don't. And if we do, then is that just a title for Todd to make him feel happy? Because maybe have him call plays to Dirk. Maybe have him call plays because you're not doing a very good job of it. Obviously, maybe who knows? Who knows? It's not good, Dirk. Dirk Cutter will never watch this video. I'm just ranting at this point, but why do you even have him there if he's not going to call the plays? That's kind of the point of an offensive coordinator, to coordinate the offense, Dirk. You're not an offensive coordinator anymore. You're a head coach. Please act like it. Please. Now, that's another big strike for me. And speaking of Dirk acting like a head coach, let's talk about this one. So, keep in mind at this point, Jameis Winston had been injured, okay? Marshawn Lattimore did something. Marshawn Lattimore was near the Bucs sideline, okay? He was near the Bucs sideline. He had his back to the Bucs sideline, okay? And he's sitting there pointing, going, da-da-da-da-da. Jameis being Jameis, getting all fired up, whatever, whatever, points his finger like this. And I don't know if he did this intentionally or not. People are saying, oh, he didn't do it intentionally. Jameis can be kind of petty in my opinion, so I would not be surprised. Poked him. Let's say this is Lattimore's helmet, okay? My fist is Lattimore's helmet. Just poked him right in Lattimore's helmet, okay? Now, Lattimore, being the sensible guy that he was in this situation, turned around, said, Jameis, you're not even in the freaking game anymore. You literally ran off the bench to come poke me in the helmet. Get away. Shoved him. Shoved Jameis. Oh boy, did that send off some freaking fire alarms in the Bucs. Great in the Bucs game this day. This was the most exciting part of the game, to be honest. Mike Evans ran up, pushed over Lattimore, just boom, just murdered the poor man. Murdered him. And proceeded to, he went for an elbow. He went for an elbow. I think he got off one hit, and he went for another elbow, or a forearm, and got smashed from behind before he could whack it. So, he should have been ejected. He wasn't ejected, and even he was like, why didn't I get ejected? So, ooh. So that wasn't good. Jameis is coming off the bench to start fights. Intentional or unintentional. I still think it was intentional, in my opinion. But what? Jameis, you're supposed to be the leader of the team, and why are you coming out there poking dudes in the helmet? You can't do that, especially if you're not even playing in the game anymore. I get it. You want your guys to be protected, and you want your guys to be safe, but why are you poking people in the helmet? I mean, he was right there. You can't just be blindly, you can't just say like, oh, well, I blindly poked him in the helmet. You can't say that. He was right in front of you. The man's like 190-pound, 6-foot, whatever cornerback. You can't just, get back to your sideline is what he was saying, apparently. He was saying, get back to your sideline. You can't just, accidentally poked you. Oh, hey, don't shove me. What? Like, that's stupid. That's stupid, man. So that happened. Mike Evans let his temper get the best of him. He has done that multiple times this season. Jameis is being weird. Weird is one way to call it. Very immature is another way to call it. Between the pregame speech and that, that's not fun. I get it. He's young, but he's also in his third season. He's had two NFL seasons as an NFL quarterback. You figure he'd at least figure out how the game works at this point, how this world works, but guess not. This is going to be a long rant. I'm only on the offensive side of the ball right now, guys. And speaking of, I talked about earlier about how, Dirk's not acting like a head coach. When all this was going on, it caused a big old scuffle. Sean Payton was getting pissed. Sean Payton was pissed. He was so mad. He looked like he was about to knock out the refs. Swear to God. It was phenomenal. Sean Payton was so mad. Dirk didn't yell a single word. When all this fighting was happening, all the players were getting involved on Dirk's sideline. Dirk didn't even go. Didn't even go to break up the fight. Didn't go. Couldn't be bothered. He couldn't be bothered with breaking up the fight. He was like 5 feet away, and he was just like, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't want to break up this fight. I got to worry about calling the offensive plays. I guess. I don't know how Dirk Cutter works. I still love Dirk Cutter, by the way. I love the coaching staff, but I mean, I love them as people, but as coaches, they're suspect. So that happened. That was terrible. That was awful on all many levels. Immature from Jameis. Immature from Mike Evans. What the heck, Dirk Cutter, right? All that's going on. Apparently there might have been a little thing between... He wasn't even saying anything. Dirk was just... That was Dirk the whole time. That was Dirk Cutter. It was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, go. Be fired. Get fired up. Jesus. So... that happened. And that was interesting. Can we talk about the defense real quick? Can we talk about the defense? Starting off, William Golston, terrible injury, neck injury. I feel very bad for him. I wish him nothing but the speediest of recoveries. Wish him nothing more. Nothing more than the speediest of recoveries. I guess with him out, he's probably out for a while. He did fly back on the team plane, which is a very good sign. So I do wish him nothing but the best recovery. Nothing more. It takes a lot of guts to play that sport. But aside from that, now that I've gotten past the sympathetical part of this defense, Can we please, for the love of God, stop rotating defensive linemen and safeties? Here's why. And somebody pointed this out to me on Twitter. It was like an expert. And I was like, oh my God, I already hated rotating players. When you have people who are designated as pass rushers and as run stoppers, same with safeties, probably to a certain degree. You have your run stopping safeties, which is probably TJ Ward and Justin Evans maybe. And then you have your passing coverage safeties, which are more than likely Chris Conte and Keith Tandy. You have your run stoppers, which is Robert Ayers and it was William Golston. Then you have your pass rushers, which is so-and-so and so-and-so, probably like Ryan Russell and somebody else. Daryl Tapp, maybe. Don't you think you would become pretty predictable? Like, mind you, I'm not a professional. But I'm sure NFL quarterbacks, like Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. I'm sure Drew Brees would see that and he goes, oh, well, whenever they come out with those defensive ends and safeties, I know they're thinking it's going to be a run. I'll just call an audible and throw a quick pass. Duh. You know, Drew Brees was hyper efficient today. I don't remember his exact stats, but you'd get kind of predictable, right? I would assume, you know, especially if you rotate and you don't have complete players who you trust to do everything, at least a little bit. You know, you'd get pretty predictable. Now, I already hate rotating safeties and defensive ends, but that really set me off. I was like, oh my God, they're so right. They're so right. I hate everything. Mike Smith, not working out, buddy. I mean, I get it. Your defense was out there for a really long time today. Like a really long time because the offense was terrible. But can we stop? Just stop rotating in defense. We don't even have the defensive lineman to rotate in anymore. Noah Spence is out. William Golston's probably out. We don't even have the defensive lineman to rotate in anymore. Just put in Robert Ayers and like Ryan Russell, I guess. Jesus, I never thought I'd. I love Ryan Russell, but you know, so that's fine. Whatever. You don't even have the option anymore to rotate them. So what a problem solved. All it took was our guys getting gruesome injuries, right, Mike Smith, to stop your bad defensive ways. But those safeties are the ticker for me. Because why would you put your best safeties out on the field when you could have Chris Conte and you know, Chris Conte. I was so excited for Justin Ward and Justin Evans to a certain degree. I wasn't super excited about the Justin Evans pick, but I was like, maybe new safeties are fun. I was so excited. Keith Tandy, I was so excited. And then Chris Conte came back. And I was like, And I made a whole video about, what's the hate with Chris Conte? A lot of people hate Chris Conte. He's not... I just don't like rotating people. Can we not do that? I mean, Quan Alexander and Levante David are trying their darndest. Levante's had like 4 forced fumbles in 4 games. That's insanely impressive. Gerald McCoy's playing his darndest, but it's just not working. Burton Grimes has been out for a little bit. I mean, Vernon Hargreaves is doing... I don't know if he did good today or not. I don't know. He's been inconsistent. Cornerback's been inconsistent. I've said before that I didn't trust the cornerback depth. Oh, dear Lord, is it showing. You know, we can't run a whole defense with just Gerald. We can't have a whole defense when the only guys who are really playing their hardest are Quan Alexander, Levante David, and Gerald McCoy. You know, if Chris Baker. Chris Baker's trying. I get it, man. I get it. I respect Chris Baker. I respect TJ Ward. I respect all these guys. I get it. You know, it's hard. It's hard being... I'm not a professional. I can't speak as if I'm a professional. But as a fan, I do have a right to criticize this team. That's my right as a fan. I like the team. I can talk about the team. That's my right. I can criticize it. And the play hasn't been good. They know the play hasn't been good. They know they need to shape it up. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's this losing culture that has been here since John Gruden left. And even it might have been there even John Gruden's at the very, very end of John Gruden's time there. I don't know. I do not know. But there is a losing culture still kind of persisting. a little bit. It's not as bad as it was because I mean, when Raheem Morris and Greg Schiano were there, dear Lord, was it bad? It's not that bad, but it's bad. It's kind of rearing its ugly head again. It's feeling like Raheem Morris, Lovie Smith, Greg Schiano all over again. That's what it's feeling like. Not it's feeling like a light version of that. This team it looks like it doesn't care anymore. It looks like it's, well, we lose, at least we're getting a paycheck, right? That's what it feels like. The players might not have respect for the coaching staff anymore. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody personally speak out for the most part besides the Grimeses, and Chris Baker and TJ Ward. Maybe they don't like the coaching staff, specifically Mike Smith. Maybe they're not appreciative with being rotated in. Maybe they're like, well, if we're going to keep on getting rotated in, then screw it, And the leadership, I mean, when players say that, you shouldn't just be like, oh, go take your problems to somebody else. You should be like, okay, dude, let me get in with you one-on-one in an office, and we'll talk about this, and I'm not going to say a word to media because it doesn't matter. I'm not going to comment on it. Who cares, right? I'm going to work with you one-on-one, and I might say something to Mike Smith. We get it. You're a freaking, Chris Baker's good. Chris Baker's whatever. He's really good. I know he's good. I know a lot of people ain't liking Chris Baker, but I think he's good at run stopping. And TJ Ward's a former 3-time Pro Bowl safety. Yeah, maybe they should be playing a little bit more, just saying. Maybe you should just have him and Gerald McCoy in. Maybe that would be a good combo. Stop rotating our entire defensive line like every down and stop rotating our safeties, please. That'd be nice. Mike Smith. Stop running cover 4 all the time, maybe, because they'll just throw a slant pattern and then we're screwed. It happened last year and it happened this year. It's just bad. I mean, special teams. Hey, Patrick Murray. I get the kicker's names confused. Hey, Patrick Murray missed a 54-yarder, but he made a 50-yarder, so I don't blame him. Patrick Murray's good. I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with having Patrick Murray be our kicker for the next couple of years. Probably. I like Patrick Murray that much. Brian Anger too is good. He had his first punt block today, so it's all going downhill, right? In my opinion, here's what I think is going to happen with the Bucs coaching staff, okay? Because before I thought that nothing was going to happen, but then today happened. And listen, I get it. Bad play is one thing, but very obvious lack of leadership is a very another thing to me. As long as you're a good leader and if you're a good leader and you're losing games, then there's not much I can say about that besides it must be certain things. But today kind of made me think, and it's still making me think, is Dirk a good leader for this team? And right now, I'm going to say no, unless they can turn this around drastically. I'm going to say no, unless they can finish like 7-9 or 8-8 or something. I'm going to say that Dirk is not a good leader right now. He's offensive coordinator at heart. He's not meant to be a head coach. He's not meant to lead an entire team. He's fiery. I'll give him that. He's fiery at some points when he can be, but between him and Mike Smith, it's just not working. Maybe there's a reason that they aren't in Atlanta anymore. Maybe there's a reason they got booted out of Atlanta. They said, oh yeah, Atlanta said, yeah, you guys can go. It's fine. We don't really care. Maybe that's what, maybe there's a reason. Do I think that they're going to get fired? Kind of. I mean, yes. Today I thought, man, they're going to get fired by tomorrow, which that's still my initial thought. I still think I'm going to be uploading this at like 3 a.m. I still think that they have a good chance of being fired by tomorrow. I'm not even joking. I know I just made a whole video saying, oh, consistency's sake, but there's a certain point where it's like, okay, this guy ain't the leader. We need to find a new leader, I don't know who that guy is. Maybe you fire Dirk Cutter and you say, Mike Smith, you're the interim head coach because you've been a head coach before. Honestly, that could be a move. That could be the move. I could see that. Maybe just say, hey, Mike Smith, stay away from the defense. You're just going to be the head coach now, and just do not call plays. Just don't do it. That could be the move. That could be the move. Say, hey, Todd Monken, you're calling the offensive plays now. Go. Let's see what you've got. And then you wait, and maybe you sign John Gruden. Maybe you sign a young guy who you don't know what's going to happen with. I mean, look at Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, I think his name is. It's not Sean McVay, but the Rams head coach. The Rams are freaking phenomenal now. So I could see a move where they fire Dirk before the end of the season. Maybe promote Mike Smith. Maybe promote Todd, but more than likely Mike Smith. And then at the end of the season, we'll see where that goes. That could happen tomorrow. That's a strong guess for me. But for long term, here's what I think is going to happen. I don't think that Mike Smith or Dirk Cutter, unless, again, this is just my scenario as things stand right now, I don't think that they are going to stay with the Buccaneers. I think if they don't get fired before the end of the season, or by tomorrow, or they don't get fired by the end of the season, they're going to be fired at the beginning of the offseason. Jason Light's going to re-sign, and then they'll go from there. Maybe bring in John Gruden, maybe bring in a guy Jason Light likes. Be it Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. That'd be fun. I'd love that, actually. That'd be a fun one. Bring in a younger coordinator, who knows? Todd Daniels, I think is the name. Bring in one of those guys, who knows? Those would be the three guys I would suspect, since the Glazers have a connection to Gruden and Jason Light has a connection to the two guys I just mentioned. But as it stands right now, I don't think Dirk or Mike Smith are going to stay. Even if things get better, I don't know if they're going to stay. I don't think they have the leadership for it, personally, right now. They haven't proven themselves as capable leaders so far this season. Yeah. So, this video has been dragging on for like 27 minutes now. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. If Dirk and Mike Smith aren't gone, or if Dirk isn't gone by tomorrow, and Mike Smith isn't promoted tomorrow, which they might even be thinking about right now, they might get fired next week after the game. If they lose, they might get fired a couple weeks from now. If they have another bad loss, I think they're gone. Another blowout loss. I think Dirk's gone and Mike Smith will probably get promoted to interim coach, and they're like, whatever, the season's a wash anyway. I honestly think that would be the move. I don't think Dirk's gonna survive till the end of the season. Mike Smith will, because he'll be the interim head coach, and Jason Light will resign. That's a thing. Jason Light will resign. Thing was, Jameis will probably stay as the franchise quarterback for now, especially if they have John Gruden. John Gruden loves Jameis Winston, so he'll stay. They have a top 5 pick right now. Draft an offensive lineman, please. Give me as many boring drafts as you want. Draft as many offensive and defensive linemen as you want. I do not care. Draft them all. I don't care if it's boring. I do not care. I just want to win. So, yeah, that's it right now for this video, guys. I know it was pretty ranty, but I had to say it, man. I had to say it. I've been really neutral with this team. People have told me before, like, oh, you're not a true Bucs fan. Da, da, da. Well, hopefully this video changed your mind, because there's only so much I can take. I'm usually a pretty neutral guy in terms of literally everything in life. I'm pretty neutral, but I try and be as flatlined as possible. But today was really not fun in terms of Bucs stuff today. But let me know what you guys think of the situation down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your opinions of it. Yeah, Bucs are sucking again, boys. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next video. But until then, yeah, goodbye for now, guys.